So one little policeman nearly ruined my first experience of Rwanda. How did it happen? Let me tell you. So, of course, if you follow me on social media, you realize that I went to Kigali for the Move Afrika concert with Doja Cat. Uh, it was my first time actually staying in Kigali, Rwanda. In the previous trips, I've just done a little bit of a touch, do a transit, and then leave. So this was my first time, and I was really looking forward to it, and to also see how the young people culturally behave when it comes to music, art, and culture. And although I was there for a very short time, I did get a good taste of all of that. So before I get to how the policeman nearly ruined the experience for me, let's talk about all the good stuff. I think the people of Rwanda are very warm. In fact, everybody was like always smiling, apart from the little policeman, but I'll get to him very soon. Everybody was almost smiling all the time. They would uh, open up to you and all of that. So it's a very, very nice experience. I like the city of Kigali. I believe they have provinces and all of that. I mean, they told me a bit about that. I'll probably share more of that when I do a proper visit and do more of the touristy things. And I know that's going to happen. But it's a nice place, very clean, well organized, well behaved people, and I really, really enjoyed it there. When it comes to infrastructure, they have done some really amazing work, and they are still doing more. Lots of high-rising buildings coming up, and it's not just high-rising. The architecture to these buildings are really, really nice and sometimes green. Not just because the buildings look green, but I think conceptualizing or conceptually they're moving and pushing green. So they say green and clean, Kigali or Rwanda in general. And I was really, really impressed with what I saw. Unfortunately, I didn't stay long enough to try anything local because I got there on Monday evening around 9. I go to my hotel almost at 10. And then I was a bit tired, so I slept. The next morning, I had to catch up with some work. You know, when you are traveling for long hours, you leave a lot hanging. So I did some work, and then I had to go and pick up my press accreditation because there was a time window for the pickup. And so I went to pick it up and then came back to the hotel to rest. So it was during this time, that's when I had my first taste of moving around. I mean, from the airport to the hotel, uh, well, it cost me, I think, around $30. I mean, I thought that there was a shuttle because you go, you see the name of the hotel, you approach them, thinking that there's a free shuttle, like happens in most other hotels. But this wasn't the case. The one with the placard, I asked if I'd already booked. I said, no, I'm here for Move Africa. I showed him a letter, and he called somebody from the Move Africa team. And I think I was not part of that group. And so now we go to like the car rental session. And then the guy basically says, okay, basically this guy will take you, but you pay this much. And the interesting thing is they convert to dollars or euros for you. And so unfortunately, I had some bits of dollars on me, and so that's what I used to pay. So that was my first experience of moving around. I thought, okay, airports generally are a bit expensive and all of that. So when I was going to pick up my wristband, I told the hotel, I asked them about how to move because unfortunately, Uber and Bolt or even Yango, they don't work. But so when I was trying to use them, it didn't work. And so I looked online, I realized they have some local options for ride hailing or ride share. And I tried one, I think it was called Yemgo or Yemfo or something. But unfortunately, when I installed the app and I tried to do the verification, even though it asks for WhatsApp verification, the code never came through, and so I couldn't really use the app. And talking about internet, Airtel Tigo was useless. I couldn't roam with it. People could not call me from Ghana. It was just stressful. But MTN did a better job. So I asked the hotel about how to move from the hotel, which is located at the Kigali Convention Center. And so it's a very nice hotel, Radisson Blue, right in between the convention center. And so I asked how much it would cost from there to the BK Arena, which is where the concert was happening. I was going to pick up my tag. So he gave two options. He says there's a taxi service that runs, and then there's the airport sort of rides. Also, those ones are a little bit expensive, and the taxis that are allowed to work also within the hotel are a little less expensive. So I opted for that. And what that meant for me was it's convenient. Now I had a number of a driver I could use for the rest of my stay there. So the driver comes, his name was Freddie, and he took me around. So he was the one who was showing me a lot of things I didn't experience. He would point out and say, oh, this is this street. You can find Ghanaian restaurant here, Nigerian restaurant there, and all of that. So I had that kind of knowledge, but I didn't experience it myself. And then he took me to the BK Arena to go pick up the wristband. So this was where the challenge started coming in terms of the telephone, because he wasn't allowed to park at where he dropped me, so he had to drop me and go. But I took his number, and Airtel wouldn't ring at all. You ring and then it cuts. It doesn't actually dial. I don't know what I'm saying, but it doesn't connect, yeah. And so fortunately, the MTN worked. I was able to call him when I was done to come and pick me, and then he did. Surprisingly enough, when I went, I couldn't find a network for the MTN SIM, but it was because I had turned off the automatic network and I had picked a particular one. That one kept failing, so it wasn't really connecting. Anyway, so I go to the hotel, rested, and around 5, I called Fred to come and pick me again to now go back to the BK Arena, because we were supposed to do some press briefing a bit earlier. And so I went and I captured a bit of that. And then fortunately, once inside the BK Arena, internet was working. And so I could WhatsApp, I could load videos when the concert was going. The concert was amazing. And then I got to taste a bit of the modern culture of Rwanda. It's very multicultural, I feel. There's a lot of people visiting, living there, schooling. I actually also had a call from a Ghanaian who was in the university and was there, and was also a blogger. Unfortunately, we couldn't connect while we were there like we planned to. Things got hectic and internet issues again at some point. So it's really, really nice. Young people, the concert really appealed to a lot of the young people, which is a little bit different from the Move Afrika concert I did in Lagos last year with John Legend. Of course, John Legend is more of an adult crowd. And so this group was very young. And they came in slanging because the style of fashion. I mean, if you haven't been to Rwanda before and you know them from what you've seen online, you would think they are very reserved and all of some things would not be allowed. But they came up with some wild fashion. The ladies, the guys, the buddies were there as well. So it was interesting. And I also realized some of them were also from the neighboring East African countries. A lot of them came from Uganda, Kenya, etc. So it was a nice mix altogether. And so that's what I think, in general, life in Kigali would look like. And then when the concert was about leaving, I now speak to the driver that he should come. I want to leave. And so when he comes, eventually he sends a text that unfortunately where he dropped me, he cannot go there because of security. He had to be parked somewhere. So he has sent me that text. And I when I was leaving, I tried connecting with him. But then halfway, I lost the internet from the arena. And so I couldn't find him. And then, funny enough, I still had network on the Airtel Tigo, but you cannot call. And then my MTN rather was off. The network was not connecting. And And so I was hustling to communicate with him because other people were leaving also, so there's a crowd. And this is where the issue with the policeman, that little policeman comes in. And I'm about to tell you. So as I was leaving, they had blocked some part of for security reasons, which was what the driver had said, and so he had to be somewhere else. So I meet a few of the security people while they are trying to direct people not to go here and there. And then I tell him this, I showed him the test. In fact, one was so nice speaking to me. I even asked that I cannot reach the driver. Can he call? And he was like, unfortunately, he doesn't have a phone on him. And so he tells me to go one way. So the way he directed me based on the text message I was going. And then there's this little policeman who is now also telling everybody not to use that direction that I've been told to go. And he's screaming, shouting, and I'm like, well, but that's fine. But let me show you a test. And then he wouldn't even speak English. And then you pretend like he speaks when I say it and say no. It's like I'm like, come on, I'm not from here. I don't like listen. I can't speak your language. Take your time and listen to what I'm saying. And then he would still be pushing. And then I see one of the other people who had directed me earlier. And so I tried to get his attention. It was like, okay, I should use this side. And then this guy is still pushing. And then when I realized, I figured he couldn't speak English, I also started getting loud in my language. I was like, come on, you're a human being. Stop acting like that and listen to me and stop shouting, something like that. Anyway, I just left him and now followed the direction that he was telling everybody to go. Because I just wanted to show him the test so that he tells me, okay, go this direction, but you find him here because I don't know where I was going. So I kept walking, and unfortunately, the MTN now got network. And so I called the driver. It was like he's parked somewhere, and I really walked past. So now he tells me to walk back to where he dropped me, and then he also walked to me. And so that's what happened. I walked back to where he had dropped me initially. I called him, he was there, he saw me, we went into the car, and then we made our way to the hotel, and then I slept and got ready for the next day. But it was a little bit an unusual thing also I experienced when I was going to the airport. So again, I got a taxi. No, this time, so when I got home after the concert, I asked the receptionist if the hotel has a shuttle. By shuttle, I mean the standard, there has a bus or something. Every guest get together at specific pickup point and they're taken to the airport. So he said yes, and that's what I thought it would be. But in the morning, when I was ready and I asked about it, I realized that it's the same process. You now have to pay for a car to take you to the airport. So I said, fine. This time what I did was I just decided to pay upfront with a credit card, and then rather just get into the car, and when I get it, I don't have to worry. But when we were going to the airport, one thing I also found out was something really strange, because at a point, getting to the airport, we all had to stop and then go through a security check. So you leave a car, you go through the checkpoint, and then the driver stays, the police come, they open bags, they move, they bring dogs, they bring all of that to go through the check. You go through a scanner, and then you now go and stand somewhere. And when the driver's check is over, you now get into the car and go. It felt really odd. So I kept asking the driver, is this a norm? And I don't know if it is a norm. Anybody else who has been to. But he also said something like, it's because you're using the fast track road. So probably that's how it was. So if anybody else has been to Kigali, and when you're leaving, you have to go through the same thing, let me know. But yes, the airport felt very small. I mean, the previous times, because I was just connecting, it felt grand. You get in, you move you connect and go to wherever you're supposed to go, and then it goes. But this time, now leaving the departure area, going to the counter, there wasn't so much space. I mean, from the place I went, I just saw about 5 counters: Turkish business, economy, Rwanda, and business Rwanda, and I saw Kenya economy, and so it looked very, very small. But once again, once I went to security and I saw that there were other places that connect. I don't know if it was for connecting or for other airlines or whatever it is. But I had a very short and, as you can see, eventful 2 night stay in Rwanda, Kigali. So if you liked it, I mean, share. If you have any opinion, share as well in the comment section. Thanks for sticking through my long story. Cheers. Bye-bye.